Islam has made its way into the eyes, if not the minds, of the American now. So what stands out most visually are the women because they are covered. Now, many Americans have no idea what Islam is really about, and you will learn quite a bit from this video specifically about women, because this is part 3 of my women series of how modern systems hurt women, not help them. And today we are looking at a world where women aren't erased, they're controlled as pawns. This is the oppression of Muslim women. I'll give a disclaimer right now. This is a serious and sensitive topic, so many things may just anger you because they're the truth. I'm going to show discrepancies in cultural areas, religious text, and their reality. And then I'll wrap it up with a little bit about how they view us as the Western world. So quickly about Islam. Islam is a political, cultural, and religious system, all wrapped up into one, right? So it's a complete lifestyle. Islam is the religion. Muslims practice Islam. Muslims are the people. So to understand the rights of women, you'd have to look at the Quran, which is the holy book of Islam, and then the hadiths, which are the narrations approved by the Prophet Muhammad to guide you in the understanding of the Quran. And then in addition to those books, you have imams, which are the religious leaders who interpret the Quran for everyday people. This is why it's so important to understand the difference between peaceful Muslims and their leaders, because most Muslims, like actually many religions, the people don't know their religion. So very different. What Islamists, I'm going to call them Islamists, are different from Muslims. So let's see what an imam has to say about women. In the comment section of this video, multiple people did confirm the translation was correct.
فنده که خدا اینها را خلق کرده برای اینکه وسیله غذای مردم باشه و یک قسم حیوان خلق کرده و اون زنها و خانمها هستن. اینا عین گاو و گوسفند هستن، حیوان هستن، ولکن و خدا خلقشون کرده برای استفاده مردها، فقط واسه که مردا و
Okay, so women are described as being made for men, created for men, but definitely not in a way that the Bible says women were a gift to men. These women are apparently cattle in the Quran, but most Muslims would say that's not in the Quran. Well, that's an imam. That's one of the religious leaders who, so whatever interpretation he's reading, thinks that women were created for men. So there are verses in the Quran that show that women are less than men, but people still fight these and try and interpret them all different kinds of ways. So I'm just going to show them to you and we can figure that out for ourselves, right? So one, it says that women are intellectually deficient. So there requires two women's testimony is equal to one man's. And so it says in Quran 2:8:2, it says, if 2 men cannot be found, then 1 man and 2 women of your choice will witness. So if one of the women forgets, the other may remind her. So it says in a hadith, right? I said the hadiths are there so that you can understand the Quran. Well, it says, the Prophet says, isn't the witness of a woman equal to that half of the man? The woman said, yes. He said, this is because of the deficiency of a woman's mind. So that's the Quran and the hadiths together. They're religious books. It also says that men can beat their wives for disobedience. Men are in charge of women by right of what Allah has given one over the other. But those wives from whom you fear arrogance, first advise them. Then if they persist, forsake them in bed. So here we have a man telling a woman that he's not going to sleep with her. And then finally, strike them. So what does that even look like for a man striking his wife? So different versions say, hit her lightly. They try and say all kinds of things. Maybe he missed out on the Quranic verses here. Polygamy is normal and justified by male superiority. If you fear you might fail to give orphan women their due rights, if you were to marry them, then marry other women of your choice. 2, 3, or 4. 2, 3, or 4. Okay. So if Allah did send down this revelation, he's either stupid or he hates women. So I was reading this book here, The Price of Honor, and it's by the journalist Jane Goodwin, and it's terrible. It's terrible what's in this book. She interviews women from over like 14 different Islamic countries, and what's in it is just so sad. And it's what you would think with polygamy. So This comes from Muhammad having multiple wives, and so every time he thinks he has a revelation from Allah about, something that he wants to do, he wants to take another wife, he just says, oh, I had a revelation from Allah. So a man will marry a woman. And then let's just say like 14 years later, he wants a younger wife, because that's always what it is. He wants a younger wife. And in that book, one of the stories, a woman is in this situation. Her husband wants to take a second wife, and she's significantly younger. So she is deeply saddened inside, which we would expect, right? Well, she looks at this second spouse, and in her heart, she said she was just waiting for the third spouse to come along so that she would feel the anger and the jealousy that she had to feel before. And the man did take a third wife. So any person in the West knows how hard it is to have a relationship with one person. So obviously the motive for 3 or 4 spouses is for sexual reasons only. Then, of course, is the famous, you go to heaven and you get 73 virgins.
Allah not mention in the Quran what you guys are going to get in Jannah. There's general specific things, rivers of honey, rivers of water. Why doesn't Allah go into specifics?
Because every single woman is different in what she wants.
Very much. Not only that, and every woman in our hardwiring is also the same. We as men, we are told very clearly, Huralain, yes, look, Huralain, and a few other things in the Quran. It directly tells us what we want, and we all get gassed and happy about it. But if Allah said to you guys, you're going to get a palace with 5 bedrooms, you're going to be thinking, and if Allah said it's going to be pink color, yeah, you're going to be thinking, but I want it blue color, and I want 7 bedrooms. It's Allah has left that to your imagination, because your imagination, which is unique to you.
Listen to that ridiculous justification. So the inequality is not just cultural, it is systemic, and it is religiously upheld regardless of people's interpretations. It's almost like a make-believe religion at this point in time. Next comes this outfit, the famous outfit of Muslim women. And there's a variety of different things that they can wear, but I don't really want to go into them, because the fact is, hijab is the hijab, like the covering, is presented as respect. That's why they have it. It's for modesty, but literally it's rooted in man's lack of self-control. So it's not in the Quran. And this is a point of contention for Islamic feminists. They are fighting this because they said it's just not in there. There is a verse that talks about a veil, but it's in the home. It has nothing to do with putting on this whole full garb. So we have now seen this, that women have become responsible for men's purity in that religion, not the men themselves. This is the verse. O Prophet, ask your wives, daughters, and believing women to draw their cloaks over their bodies. In this way, it is more likely that they will be recognized as virtuous and not be harassed. I don't want to dive into the fact that, we know that little girls are wearing full burqas, but it says that apparently they need to be dressed in a certain kind of way so that people will think they are more virtuous, and then they deserve to not be harassed if you think that they're virtuous. So this is what's going on in England right now, or like Western Europe. You're seeing all of these rapes, and it's because they view them as non-virtuous women, so they can be harassed. So clothing in their culture, or what they're doing with it, is not really about morality, even though they're claiming that it's about modesty. It's really about territory, it's ownership, it's suppressing women. So we would like to think that it's so easy, well, like, it's not in the Quran, so don't do it. Well, there's a cultural stigma attached to it, a heavy cultural stigma. So girls and women will be shamed by their peers. So I pulled this from an article, and this girl said that she was just told by her parents or her dad that she would be condemned to hell if she didn't wear a hijab. And as she got older, she was just like, well, I don't want to wear it. And then he started to threaten her. So this study said that 44% of people think women who wear veils or hijabs are good girls. And 66% think women who follow religious rules are good girls. On the other hand, 63% think that women who wear Western clothes are bad girls, and that they are shredding the fabric of society. So you're already beginning to see how they're viewing the Western world and how women look in the Western world. Their covering is not just modesty. It also it's kind of staking a claim, and it's showing the stark differences between what they believe and the Western world. So the care is not actually about the women themselves. And we have to know that women feel like they're not even human beings after a while.
Covering yourself head to toe in black, I cannot express how that diminishes your humanity. You can't hear properly, you can't see properly, you can't smell properly, you can't touch because you're wearing gloves, you can't interact with people. Like, you are like a ghost. You can see people, but they can't see you. Little children are scared of you.
In addition to all of that, how many times in America do we tell people to go outside to get vitamin D? They're covered all the time. They have vitamin D deficiencies. They have weak bones. A lot of malnutrition goes on in those nations, all because of that specific outfit. So to break it off, I decided to throw in a personal story. I am not Muslim. I would be considered an infidel. Very proud to be one. So when I was younger, I backpacked a lot and I went to Morocco. And, you know, when you don't know religion, you try on the outfits, you think it's cute, right? So I did. It felt like I was putting on a costume. I felt kind of like Princess Jasmine. It was great. And it's wild because it's like the only place in the world where men will put clothes on you. Wild. And I did have all different kinds of sentiments while I was there. I said there is a man who is dressing me, essentially. That was strange. But what has happened over time is over the past couple of years, I have been going on trips to learn and understand what Islam is. I've gone into about maybe 4 mosques now. I have sat through 3D propaganda experiences, like real good propaganda, slide decks on what they want you to believe they believe in. They do open up their doors to allow people to come in and learn, because they get points with Allah and they could possibly even convert you. So that's a win for them. I have been shuffled into the back basements and balconies of mosque, wherever they put women these days. I was also in a future Muslim missionaries. They were in training, they were in college. And the mother/wife, she was shoved upstairs. She cooked the meal and then she had to go upstairs because, for fear that she would have a meal and hear, other people's beliefs. They couldn't have had that. The father hated me. He actually had clear annoyance on his face every time I spoke because I was a woman and I'm not supposed to speak without being asked. So these were very immersive experiences for me. So it doesn't matter to me what anybody says or what anybody says on the internet. The Muslims that I met, they were actually studying and practicing the faith system, and they truthfully have a lowlier view of women.
She doesn't want to talk, and I cannot force her not to talk. Is that your choice? Good, thank you. She doesn't want to talk. It's simple as that. She doesn't want, even with the whiteboard thing, that was her idea. She does not want to talk. Do you want me to abuse her and force her to talk? Hello? It's against Islam, alhamdulillah, yes?
The whole thing was crazy. And I did not feel like I was a woman. I did not feel like I was appreciated by those people. I did feel like I was kind of a thing. Definitely a second-class citizen at most. Next, we have our baby-making machine, the polygamy monster, and this we are seeing right here in America now, which is wild. But one thing with women is that in many Islamic societies, they have far less access to education. Now, this is another point of contention for Muslim feminists, because they are fighting for women's rights that were seen in earlier days in Islamic nations. But as we have seen, any nation that is taken over by a radical Islamic organization takes those rights away from women. So it's simply because men are physically stronger and there's nothing else to it. So polygamy that we saw before with low education equals women becoming wombs for explosive religious population growth, total Handmaid's Tale. So some families live on state assistance. We're seeing a lot of that here in America, and then they're expanding their households through polygamy. So Dearborn, Michigan used to be known for the Ford assembly line and pumping out cars, but apparently under Abdullah Hammoud, there is a new industry, baby making.
RX Kids is finally here. We worked for this program for over 2 years, and if you're pregnant now, had a baby after November 1st, you're eligible.
Dearborn produces more babies per capita than any other city in Michigan, roughly 1,700 babies. Dearborn produces more babies per capita. Dearborn produces more babies per capita.
Did you just hear what he said? They produce more babies. Like, they're talking like they have some sort of industry that raises GDP as opposed to sucking it up. So in America, women fight for the right to kill babies. In Islam, it's women's rights to reproduce like cattle. Hashtag reproductive rights for the win. So these women are not loved by any way, shape, or form. They are there for economic and reproductive assets. So oppression in the West has a tendency to erase women, but to drill home what that imam said in the beginning of this video, how he viewed women, oppression with Muslim women is breeding them like livestock. We regularly view things from our own perspective. That's just how people are. But I want to show you how Islam looks into the Western world and views us, because we think that we're better than them and their culture, which is why we keep saying that Islam has no place in the Western world. I would never say that. Islam has no place on the entire planet, but that's what we think it's West versus East. So let me show you what they think about us. Conservative Islamic cultures believe that the West is the great Satan, that we are immoral, sexually chaotic, and we have corrupt families. The truth is, freedom with women often turns into objectification and sexual commodification. So are they wrong? They also see Western women as shameless, cheap, immodest. In America, women are pressured to be sexually available, to be valuable, or even desirable. They look at the Western world and they see a nation that sells women's bodies in media, in ads, in entertainment. The reality of it is, here in America, culture profits from women's sexuality without protecting those women. Lastly, with their outfits, they believe the hijab is there to restore dignity stolen by Western sexual culture. The reality is, in the West, many women not only have a loss of dignity, but also purpose. We are being erased by transmaxing, men posing as women, being devalued as just a body for pleasure. And then there's, of course, the battle between career and family. So Islam thinks it's rescuing women from Western sexual chaos. But if a woman was to leave the sex-crazed Western landscape of being viewed as sexual property, she would convert to Islam and then become both private and sexual property. So in both cases, she would still lose. And there are women who do convert in America to Islam. And the reason is literally to leave what they consider to be rank immorality. So in the West, we're selling women. And in Islam, they're caging women. So truthfully, neither side sees a woman as a whole person, mind, body, identity, and agency. So that's why I was making this series, to show you that we're not winning here in the West. We wouldn't win in Islam either as women. Oppression is wearing different outfits here, but it definitely has still the same face of oppression and the lack of respect for what a woman is. And this series is strictly about women, but I'm gonna get to men. There's a war on both men and women, and we're not thriving. So of course, everybody's asking, what can we do about the threat of Islam? Well, you want to deport them. Once you open that floodgate, then you'll have to start deporting a lot of other people as well. Then there's, trying to get rid of Sharia law. They're simply using our system against us. They're using our laws against us. They're using tolerance against us. These are what people call American values. To beat Islam, one would have to reconsider what we consider to be America and American values. So like, share, and subscribe, guys. Drop me a comment if there's anything else you'd like me to expound upon, but make sure you come back for part 4, the cultural stereotype of womanhood in the West.
On the floor, and let's see what you can do. Is it just for show? Say, girl, can that body move?